At first glance, it looked like just another old photograph of an isolated Indian tribe. But when experts improved the image, something was captured in the background, something no one could explain. What were they doing there? Why is it missing from all official records? And more importantly, why did the authorities try to bury this image? Today, we discovered the chilling story behind the most mysterious photographs ever captured.
Number 13. The tragedy that changed everything. Cheyenne Indians are Algonquian-speaking North American indigenous people whose history spans several centuries. Originally, this tribe led a settled lifestyle in the modern Minnesota state area where indigenous people practiced agriculture and fishing. When Cheyenne obtained horses and became familiar with European goods, they began leaving the plains and leading nomadic lives. During this period, the tribe split into two groups, Northern and Southern Cheyenne. This tribe's history contained many dramatic events. After the Battle of Wolf Creek, Cheyenne made a peace treaty with the Comanche tribe, and it seemed their wars had ended. But in 1864, a real tragedy occurred that left an indelible mark on this tribe's fate. That year, soldiers under Colonel Chivington's command came to Sand Creek. They attacked a peaceful Cheyenne settlement. Indigenous people weren't prepared for the invasion, so practically all people from this settlement were killed. This event became one of the most tragic in the history of relations between indigenous people and Americans. Today, you can find photographs of Cheyenne Indians from the late 19th to early 20th century online. One of them is this photograph of a girl from the peaceful tribe that you can see on your screens.
Number 12. The Fortress City. Photographer Edward Curtis captured this image in 1904 showing a resident of Akama Pueblo in Valencia County, New Mexico. The Akama Pueblo community has an incredibly rich history. This settlement was built on top of a 100-meter sandstone cliff in the 10th century. For several hundred years, indigenous people lived here peacefully until their first encounter with Europeans in 1540, when Spanish conquistador Francisco Vázquez de Coronado spotted this amazing city on the high rock. From that moment, Akama Pueblo residents faced constant invasions. In 1599, colonial governor Juan de Oñate organized another expedition to the Akama people, this time aiming for complete conquest. Settlement residents tried to resist, resulting in several Spanish soldier deaths. Oñate was enraged and ordered his soldiers to retaliate. After another attack, over 600 indigenous people died, approximately 500 were captured, and Akama Pueblo was burned. Only 250 of the 2,000 residents managed to escape. Despite this tragedy, survivors returned and began rebuilding. Gradually, other tribes began arriving at Akama Pueblo. By the mid-15th century, the city's population had grown to about 17,000 people. However, colonizer oppression continued, and in 1680, the famous Pueblo Revolt occurred when all settlement residents united against colonists. Today, Akama Pueblo remains a small settlement with about 300 adobe buildings, and although it once housed over 17,000 people, current population is around 50 residents.
I have a question for you. First, I would like to say that it is possible to follow the greatest curiosities of our world every day. But to do so, you need to be subscribed to our channel. So, are you already subscribed? If not, take the opportunity to subscribe now. Also, take the opportunity to like the video, so YouTube will recommend more videos from our channel. So leave your like right now. And now that you have done that, let's go!
Number 11. The Buffalo Dance. This amazing dance festival is held among representatives of these tribes annually. The celebration timing wasn't chosen randomly. Buffalo herd return time is always selected as the event date. The festival includes not only hearty meals and drinks, but also ritual dances. Typically, several men from each community participate in the dance show. These people wear buffalo skins and masks, as well as other animal costumes. 8 to 10 men participate in the dances. Most of them transform into buffalo and other animals, while 2 or 3 people take spears, bows, and arrows representing hunters. During the dance, buffalo men form a circle and imitate animal movements while others pretend to hunt prey. When hunters catch the animals, people portraying buffalo regroup and try to resist. All these dances are accompanied by drum beats and rattle playing. This festival was connected to buffalo for good reason. This animal was indigenous people's main food source. Therefore, the festival is associated not only with abundant prey, but also symbolizes healing from many diseases and people's prosperity. American director Paul Ratner became interested in indigenous people's lives when filming the historical movie Moses on the Mesa. He was inspired by unusual traditions, culture, and indigenous people's appearance, so he devoted several years to meeting with chiefs from different tribes.
Number 10. Healing rituals. The Navajo represents one of North America's most numerous indigenous peoples. Navajo history began in the 10th century when their nomadic ancestors migrated from Canada to southwestern America, where they followed other tribes' examples and began living settled lives, practicing agriculture and livestock raising. Navajo people live in communities in traditional dwellings called hogan, houses built from clay and logs without a single nail. Navajo are known as skilled craftspeople, creating stunning silver jewelry and weaving carpets. However, traditions and rituals play the most important role in this people's lives. These frames show one of the healer rituals. Navajo healing rituals represent a complex system of traditional practices deeply connected to this people's spiritual beliefs. The main Navajo healers are Hatali, who undergo lengthy training with senior colleagues. They conduct their ceremonies in hogans and wear masks on their faces. Various herbs, drawings, songs, prayers, and special ritual accessories are actively used in healing. Interestingly, ritual practice is applied alongside conventional medicine very successfully. Healers can help their patients with ailments against which medications proved powerless. Number 9. The Code Talkers who won World War II. Here's something that'll mess with your head. The same government that spent centuries trying to destroy native languages suddenly needed those languages to save democracy. During World War II, the US military discovered something amazing. Native American languages were so complex and unknown to outsiders that they made perfect codes. The most famous were the Navajo Code Talkers, but Choctaw, Cherokee, and other tribes also served. Photos from the Pacific Theater show these men huddled over radios, speaking their ancestral languages while coordinating military operations that would determine the war's outcome. The Japanese could crack every American code except this one, because you can't break a code based on a language you've never heard in a culture you don't understand. These guys transmitted critical information during battles like Iwo Jima and Okinawa. Without them, those invasions might have failed. But here's the crazy part. Many of these code talkers had been punished as children for speaking their native languages in government schools. They were beaten, had soap put in their mouths, and were told their languages were savage and worthless. Then suddenly, those same worthless languages were classified as top secret military assets. The photos of Code Talker reunions from the 1960s and 70s show old men finally getting recognition for their service, but also the bitter irony of the situation. They'd helped win the war for a country that had spent generations trying to erase their cultures. Some Code Talkers didn't even tell their families what they'd done because the operation stayed classified until 1968.
Number 8. Ancient fishing techniques. Native American tribes developed fishing methods that would make today's engineers jealous. The Tringlet people of Alaska and Canada created hooks shaped like slingshots, carved from wood and equipped with metal or bone points. Each fishing tool carried a carved figure of a mythical creature. These indigenous fishermen believed curious fish would swim closer to examine the decoration, then get trapped in the special hook design. The Shoshone tribe used a different approach. They attached multiple wooden hooks to fishing lines tied to overhanging branches. These branches were chosen for their strength and flexibility, able to bend under the fish's weight without breaking. Tribes living in the upper Missouri River region employed a unique tackle called sarga, a long strip of tree bark with a hook on one end and a wooden float on the other. The fish would swallow the bait and drag the float through the water until exhausted. Fishermen simply pulled the bark strip to retrieve their catch. Most tribes used snares during spawning seasons, while shallow water fishing involved bows and arrows. Number 7. Jim Thorp.
Jim Thorp might be the most gifted athlete in human history, and the photos of him prove it. This Sac and Fox Indian could literally do everything: football, baseball, basketball, track and field, you name it. In 1912, he won both the pentathlon and decathlon at the Olympics, and the King of Sweden called him the greatest athlete in the world. But here's where the story gets messed up. A year later, they stripped him of his Olympic medals because he'd played semi-professional baseball for a few bucks during summers. Meanwhile, white college athletes were doing the same thing, and nobody cared. The real reason? They couldn't stand having a Native American be the face of American athletic excellence. Photos from his football days show him dominating opponents who outweighed him by 50 pounds. This guy was playing professional sports before they had proper equipment. No helmets, minimal padding, just pure athletic ability. He scored touchdowns, kicked field goals, and played defense all in the same game. In baseball, he hit over .250 in the major leagues and could steal bases like nobody's business. But every photo of Thorp tells the same story. Incredible talent trapped in a system designed to keep Native Americans down. He was forced to attend Carlisle Industrial School, where they tried to kill the Indian and save the man.
Number 6. Sitting Bull. This photograph captures one of the most outstanding Sioux Indian chiefs, Tatanka Iotaka, also known as Sitting Bull. This man was born in 1831 near the Grand River Backs. At birth, he received a name meaning slow in translation. However, with age, he proved completely inconsistent with his name, and at 14, he distinguished himself in battle against the Crow tribe. After this, other tribe members began respecting him, and soon he became chief, earning the legendary name Sitting Bull. He tried with all his might to resist American soldier attacks, while most other chiefs simply surrendered to armed colonizers and agreed to reservation relocation. Sitting Bull continued resistance despite other indigenous people's fear. Tatanka decided to unite everyone opposed to their lands belonging to colonizers. By 1876, he managed to gather an army of over 10,000 people who achieved the famous victory over General Custer's regiment. After this battle, Sitting Bull was forced to go to Canada, where he lived peacefully for several years. However, all his attempts to defend native territories proved futile. Then he decided to return home, surrender to the American army, and live his remaining life on a reservation. For Sitting Bull, this decision seemed very painful, and even after this, he tried finding support from other people. He participated in Buffalo Bill's Wild West show, but when he realized no one would help his people, he refused to participate in this project.
Number 5. The Ghost Dance. Picture this. The year is 1889, and a Paiute man named Wovoka has a vision during a solar eclipse. He sees all dead Native Americans coming back to life, buffalo returning to the plains, and white people just disappearing. Sounds crazy, right? But this vision sparked a movement so powerful that the US government banned it and eventually led to the Wounded Knee Massacre. The Ghost Dance wasn't just some religious ceremony, it was the ultimate act of resistance disguised as spirituality. Tribes across the West started performing these dances, believing they could literally dance their oppressors out of existence. The government freaked out because suddenly defeated tribes were getting hope again. Native people were coming together, sharing this vision of a world where their children could run free and their ancestors could return. Photos from this period show dancers wearing special ghost shirts painted with sacred symbols that they believed would protect them from bullets. Government agents saw thousands of Native Americans dancing in circles for days, entering trance states and talking about the white man's disappearance. They didn't understand the spiritual aspect, they just saw a potential uprising. The tragedy is that this beautiful, peaceful movement based on hope and spiritual renewal was crushed by violence. At Wounded Knee in 1890, over 250 Lakota people were killed, many wearing their ghost shirts. The photos of the aftermath show bodies frozen in the snow, including children and elderly people.
Number 4. The Waffle Gardens. Zuni is an indigenous Pueblo group, people living in the southwestern United States in a reservation located on the New Mexico and Arizona border. Agriculture has long been this indigenous people's main occupation. Zuni developed their own unique agricultural system called Waffle Gardens. Thanks to this technology, indigenous people could achieve amazing harvests in extremely difficult desert conditions. Zuni grew many different crops, including corn, beans, squash, cotton, and tobacco. Their unique agricultural technology essence involved creating special soil structure. Each plant was surrounded by raised earth squares. Thus, peculiar cells resembling waffles were created between plants. Additionally, when planting, Zuni also considered high clay concentration in soil and perfectly level ground surface. Another mandatory condition was gravel surface covering. All these features allowed maximum efficient use of limited water supplies. Zuni used their amazing crop cultivation technology for over 1,000 years. However, after dam construction on the Zuni River in 1904, civilization benefits appeared on these lands, including grocery stores, and traditional waffle gardens began declining. Today, indigenous people tried to restore ancestral technology. Additionally, scientists from many hot countries became interested in this method since waffle farming could become a promising solution for growing plants in severe drought conditions with minimal water resource consumption.
Number 3. The Kiowa Social Pyramid. The Kiowa people are known for rich migration history. These indigenous people's homeland in the 10th century AD was the Plateau region, from where they gradually moved to southern Montana. There, they had to deal with pressure from other tribes until they settled in the Arkansas River area. In these territories, the people began experiencing Comanche attacks, but Kiowa chiefs were very wise leaders who managed not only to avoid bloodshed, but also establish strong alliance relationships with this tribe. Kiowa is unique for its social organization, which was quite complex. The tribe divided into 6 nomadic communities, and leaders became not only hereditary chiefs, but also military commanders. Social hierarchy included 4 main classes. The elite Ande included military chiefs and celebrated warriors. The Ondegapa class included wealthy tribe members. Indigenous people without horses belonged to the Kuan class, and the lowest population class was Dapam, consisting of poor people and criminals. Religious practices held a special place in Kiowa culture. They believed in personal guardian spirits, revered bears, and practiced shamanism. Rituals included traditional indigenous ceremonies, including sun dance and pipe smoking ceremony. Thanks to their clear social hierarchy, Kiowa achieved success in many activity areas. These indigenous people were famous as excellent mounted bison hunters and exceeded many other Great Plains tribes in horse numbers. Today, Kiowa population numbers about 12,000 people.
Number 2. Princess Angeline. Angeline was born in 1820 in Chief Seattle's family, after whom the American city was later named. At birth, she received the name Kiki Sablu. The princess got her second name after her father's friend, David Swinson Maynard, saw her. When the man saw the young beauty, he said her native name didn't reflect her beauty and named the girl Angeline. In 1855, Angeline was 35 years old and was supposed to leave her home with other indigenous people and move to a reservation. However, the woman completely refused to comply with the Point Elliott Treaty and continued living in her small house overlooking the sea. The princess remained faithful to her homeland and traditions, but at the same time, she had to face many difficulties, particularly earning money. Angeline, despite being a princess and famous chief's daughter, swallowed her pride and did domestic work for money. First, she washed clothes, then began weaving baskets for sale. Time passed, and old age came to Angeline. She no longer looked beautiful, and it was difficult to recognize her noble origin in her appearance. Despite Angeline remaining the only indigenous person in Seattle, many city families befriended her. Like her father, Chief Seattle, Angeline was baptized in the Catholic Church. Until her dying day, she remained faithful to her faith.
Number 1. Crazy Horse. Here's something that'll blow your mind. The most famous Native American warrior photo you think you've seen? It's probably fake. Crazy Horse, the legendary Lakota leader who crushed Custer at Little Bighorn, refused every single attempt to photograph him. This guy was so committed to his beliefs that he'd rather die than let white men capture his image. And die he did, stabbed by a bayonet in 1877 while resisting arrest. The man believed photographs could steal your soul, and honestly, looking at what happened to other chiefs who posed for cameras, maybe he had a point. Every portrait you see labeled Crazy Horse online is either his cousin, another warrior, or just some random native guy from the 1800s. The real Crazy Horse exists only in the stories passed down by his people, and in that massive mountain carving in South Dakota that's been under construction since 1948. Think about this. In our selfie-obsessed world, here was a man so powerful that his refusal to be photographed made him more famous than any photo ever could. While other chiefs were being turned into postcards and tourist attractions, Crazy Horse stayed true to his spiritual beliefs right until his last breath. That's some next-level commitment to your principles.
Still curious? Then don't stop now. The next mystery is already waiting for you. Just click the video on screen. I saved it just for you. See you there, curious one.